Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel 1971 War Book Series. In the history of the 1971 war on the Western Front, especially the 17 Poona Horse had marked an extensive history of the destruction of numerous Pakistani tanks, armored vehicles and other important assets in the Shakargarh sector. You might be aware of the Battle of Basantar, the very battle of Basantar, where Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal and the 17 Poona Horse had destroyed the maximum number of Pakistani tanks. Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal was one of the main tank destroyers, leading his Centurion tank, and had been killed in action, being awarded India's highest gallantry award, the Paramveer Chakra, posthumously. Today I will be talking to one of his comrades during the 1971 war, who was a second lieutenant like Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal himself, who will also be giving a brief background of Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal and the operations that progressed. He was also wounded in action from Pakistani F-86 Sabre airstrikes and had been evacuated later away from the battlefield. So one of the very big stories of the 1971 war on the Western Front will be unfolded today by Brigadier Brijendra Singh, an Armored Corps veteran commissioned in the 17 Poona Horse, a third generation army officer, an alumni of Defence Services Staff College, who had commanded an armored regiment and later an infantry brigade, holding various command, instructional and staff positions and appointments in the entire 33 years of his service. So let's welcome Brigadier Brijendra Singh to our program today. First of all, I would like to welcome you to this program today on your insight and talk regarding the 1971 war as a participant in the war from the 17 Poona Horse. So before we proceed, sir, I would like to have a brief introduction of yours and how you joined the Armored Corps. If you could go ahead with that, sir.
Right, thank you very much for having me on your show. My name is Brigadier Brijendra Singh, and I joined the Poona Horse on 14th of March 1971. I was trained in OTS Madras at that time, which is Chennai now.
Okay.
And when we had to opt for our units, it was just by stroke of luck that I got Poona Horse, because being a good rider, I used to play polo for the academy.
Okay.
And I was allotted 61st Cavalry, and even ASC was offered to me for the reason that I would be part of the polo team of these two units, whichever I would have joined. But then my company commander and others told me that, ASC or 60th Cavalry, you will not have a good army life in that. So, being a good soldier, you must join the fighting arm.
Okay.
And those days, we used to have these newsreels before the movies, and one of these newsreels had 65 operations where the Colonel Tarapur from Poona Horse was awarded the Paramveer Chakra.
Right.
So I saw that, and then I decided this is the regiment I must join. That is how I opted for Poona Horse, and with God's grace, I was fortunate to get the regiment. The regiment at that time was in Sangrur, near Patiala.
Okay.
So life in the regiment used to be like a normal peacetime life. Of course, Poona Horse was known to be a very serious regiment as far as training was concerned. So, and gunnery war was its forte.
Okay.
We used to train especially for gunnery in something called FMR, Field Miniature Range, where the crews used to practice.
And what was the equipment that was allotted to you at that time, sir?
The equipment, you said?
Yes, sir. The equipment.
Yeah, the equipment was Centurions. The regiment was equipped with Centurions. Centurions were actually of a vintage of Second World War. In around 1950, we got these tanks.
Okay.
So these are pretty old tanks.
British
But then,
Centurions.
like we used to call them Old Faithful,
Mm-hmm.
if you were inside this tank, nothing could touch you. And
Okay.
the gun of this tank, which was 84 millimeters,
Mm-hmm.
used to fire a 20-pounder round
Round.
of armored piercing, discarding sabot, and a high explosive round. I mean, the ammunition was amazing, and it was very well suited for the area where we operated during the 71 war, which is the area of erstwhile Punjab
Mm-hmm.
in Pakistan. So the ranges obtainable for firing was not more than about 800 yards. So for that distance, this tank was absolutely amazing, and it was so well protected as far as armor protection was concerned that you felt safe like in a fortress.
Wonderful.
The Centurion was an absolutely amazing tank till date. We all swear by it.
And the crew and the work of the crew at that time, if you
The
could.
crew was a four-man crew.
Mm-hmm.
There was a driver in the hull, and in the turret, three people used to be there: the gunner, the operator, come loader, and the commander. So this was the crew. The tank itself was a wonderful tank from all aspects. It had a good mobility. The engine was very strong, and it could climb a wall, a concrete wall of 3 feet. It
Okay.
could cross a ditch
Mm-hmm.
of 11 feet.
Because
Uh,
anti-tank ditches were very common during the war.
yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very versatile tank of that time.
And another thing, sir, the hull down position. How easily could you do that with the Centurion?
Okay, no, I didn't say hull down position. I said the driver sits in the hull.
No, no, I'm asking about the hull down
Right.
position.
The hull down position is the basic position
Mm-hmm.
for when you are going into battle. The position that you would like to take is a hull down, which means that if you see from a distance, all you see is the turret, balance of the tank. Below the turret is the hull, which should be hidden
Mm-hmm.
because, firstly, that is the lightest or part of the tank.
Mm-hmm.
It is not as well protected, also. And secondly, you should give the minimum target that is seen by the enemy. So the turret itself is less than a meter in height and width. So to give a very small target to the enemy, you take a hull down position.
So in 71 you were a second lieutenant, and mostly you trained by that time only with Centurions or any other tanks, sir?
No, you see, let me go back a little.
Mm-hmm.
You see, while we were training in OTS, the training was very basic, which means that it was a basic army training. It had nothing to do with armored corps.
Mm-hmm.
So the special to corps training for armored corps was at Ahmednagar. Now Ahmednagar, we went, both Arun Khetrapal and myself. We went in the month of October 71, early October 71. However, we were there for less than a week's time
Okay.
when we were called back. The army was mobilized, and we were recalled. All of us had to rejoin our units. Something very interesting happened on our way back. We were all second lieutenant, young, all gearing up and rearing up to join battle with the respective units.
Mm-hmm.
There was no train from Ahmednagar to Delhi, direct train. So we had to take a passenger train to Manmad, and from Manmad we would catch the Punjab Mail, which at those times used to be one of the most iconic trains of the country. We didn't have any reservation because at a very short notice we had to move. So at Manmad, when the Punjab Mail came and we were all in uniform, carrying our bags, and at that time we used to have hold alls and these big black boxes that we used to carry with us,
Mm-hmm.
and everything of ours in there. So there was no place on the train, and we were refused any accommodation in any of the cabins. So we went to the station master, to the all people concerned there, but they said, sorry, there is no place. So we all got into this dining car. Now in the dining car, the station master and the guard and all, they came and they told us, you please get down, because
Okay.
otherwise we will detach the dining car from the train. I mean, it was quite a chaos there. So we all refused to get down, and finally they said, all right, we will accommodate you in various coaches wherever the place is. As soon as we got down, the train started. And in the moving train, we all jumped into wherever we got place. And Arun, who was already standing on one of the coaches, he saw me running, and I almost slipped. I would have come under the train that day when he caught hold of my hand and pulled me inside. So otherwise, I would have not been here today telling you this story. So that is how we reached Delhi, and from Delhi he went home. Arun went home. He had a Java bike, so he said, "Let me go and drop my bike at home." His father was a retired brigadier from the engineers, Brigadier Arun Khetrapal. So he went home to drop the bike and meet his parents. I was still at the railway station, and he said, "I'm going home to pick up my golf set and also my blue patrols."
Okay.
So I asked him, why a golf set and a blue patrol? He said, surely there will be a war and we will win. And at Lahore golf course, I'm going to play golf, and we will have a dinner night in the cavalry mess there. So right from the beginning, he was very clear, and the future unfolded in that manner, except that he was no more at the end of the battle,
Right.
having displayed courage and valor. So finally, we reached the regiment, and in Sangrur, regiment had already moved out, and there was one Captain Malhotra who was also a hero of this Battle of Basantar. He was a young captain that time, and he was shepherding us. We were both youngsters. At night, we caught a train to Pathankot. All we knew was that the regiment has gone somewhere towards Pathankot. So no trains would stop at Sangrur station, except then one goods train stopped, and we hitchhiked in that train and reached Pathankot on the early morning of October, maybe 17th or 18th or something like that. I don't remember the exact date. And that is how finally then we reached the regiment, which was between Pathankot and Jammu. There is a river called Uj. From the banks of Uj, there was a huge number of clumps of trees. The regiment was there. The place was called Mahichak. The village was Mahichak, where all the tanks were dispersed, and that was our concentration area. And that is when I first met both Arun and I. We met Colonel Hanup Singh, who was the commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Hanup Singh, later Lieutenant General Hanup Singh, and who was the architect of this Battle of Basantar.
Your commanding officer, right?
Our commanding officer. And then we were allotted to begin with, we were both in Alpha Squadron. And when we were in the concentration area, our Charlie Squadron, which is a 6th Squadron, and Alpha is Rajput, Bravo being Jats. So 6th Squadron had a deficiency of officers, so I was shifted into Charlie Squadron. And Arun continued to stay in Alpha Squadron.
And as you were second lieutenant at that time, I think you might be a troop commander, a troop leader.
Yes, troop leader, but because we had not done a YOs, young officers course, like I said, we were all called back after a few days. So unless you do your young officers course, actually we had not even seen a tank firing.
Okay.
Till we joined battle. We knew very little, except since I joined in March and Arun joined in July. From that time till October, in the regiment in Sangrur, we were trained into all aspects of whether it was gunnery, radio, or DNM. But no firing, no physical firing we had seen. Now, just before battle, the tanks were battle zeroed, and that is the time that we saw a Centurion firing, and it was very thrilling, of course. So that's how, and in the concentration area was day in and day out, a lot of training, field miniature training as well as tubes, uh, and also sand models. So there's a lot of training which of course came very handy during the battle.
I think the Risaldars might have also helped you, the JCOs and NCOs. Re- I mean, I remember one Risaldar Sagat Singh from
Yes.
your regiment.
Yes, Alpha Squadron Sagat Singh Saab, Risaldar Sagat Singh, he was an outstanding JCO, and he was actually the troop leader of Arun.
Okay.
And there was a bit of a tussle because Arun insisted that he should be a troop leader and not a tank commander. And finally, of course, Arun was the troop leader. And likewise, I was the troop leader of my troop in Charlie Squadron. We were tested, both of us were tested by the CO and a team of people before we were allowed to firstly participate in battle, and secondly to take on a troop, because the responsibility of a troop leader is manifold. You see, you have to understand a battle as it is progressing, also to control the two other tanks besides yourself, and to be a part of a squadron in whatever action that is taking place. So, a tank commander or a troop leader's role is very, very important. So, finally, we were both permitted to be the troop leaders, and that's how we were. And just before the actual battle started, in the month of November, a young officer course was scheduled again in Ahmednagar, and our names, both Arun's and my names, were on that. But Colonel Anuj that time, he spoke to both of us and he said, "Look here, your names are there on the course, Vio's course, and if you so desire, you can go for the course. However, there will definitely be a war between India and Pakistan, and the experience that you will gain here, you will never able to gain this experience, and any amount of stories will not be able to, give you this kind of experience." So we both opted to join battle with the regiment, and that's how we were not only permitted to join the regiment into battle, but also be troop leaders. As far as a bit of about the regiment itself, Poona Horse was raised in 1817 at a place called Sirur,
Sirur.
near Pune. And the first, it was blooded into battle in 1818, December 1818, on the New Year's Day, in a very fierce battle, which is now known as the Battle of Koregaon. Koregaon, where the battle raged on the Bhima River there against the forces of Peshwa II. And this battle was, in the annals of cavalry charges, it is referred to as one of the very, very important charges that took place. And even today, there is an obelisk there which stands on the banks of Bhima River, commemorating
this battle.
Yes. And the regiment has the maximum number of battle honors anywhere in the Commonwealth, not only in India. We have 34 battle honors. And we have only two PVCs are there in Armored Corps, and both PVCs, Paramveer Chakras, are with Poona Horse. So this is the checkered history of the regiment.
Wonderful.
Now, as for the battle itself, on the night of 5th and 6th, we crossed into Pakistan from a place called Mawa, which is, if Samba is a place between Jammu and Pathankot, this is in Shakargarh side. I am talking about area between Pathankot and Jammu.
Okay.
Pathankot being Punjab, and Jammu, just J&K starts from there, just short of that. So that is where we entered from, and the first transmission that was made on the radio is that we are now entering Pakistan. No passports required. Bash on regardless.
That was, I
So
think, made a statement made by the GOC itself.
OC 54 Div,
Right.
General Bhag Pinto,
Mm-hmm.
and there were boards put up also uh, at the IB at
Mm-hmm.
number of places to say that you are now entering Pakistan, and so it was quite a it gave people goosebumps, and especially for youngsters like us who had we were raw. And by the way, Arun and I both in the regiment were called spring onions,
Spring onions. Okay.
being being the youngest that time. We were about 21,
Mm-hmm.
and based on his age, there is a movie which is coming out now in December called Ikkis. Ikkis meaning 21 because he was 21 then. So on 5th, 6th night we entered Pakistan, and thereafter uh, the progress of battle for the first few days was very good. We were part of 16 Armored Brigade, and 16 Armored Brigade was allotted to 54 Infantry Division, which was General Vag Pinto, and our brigade commander was Brigadier Vaidya, AS Vaidya,
Okay. Brigadier Brijendra. Mahavir Chakra. Right, right.
who was Mahavir Chakar and Bar.
Or,
He
right.
was a NBC from 65 and 71 again,
Mm-hmm.
and who later rose to be the chief also, chief of army staff. So the units were 16 cavalry, Hodson's horse, that is 4 horse, and Poona Horse. And all three regiments were also in 65 operations together. That time we were part of 1 Armored Brigade, and now we were part of 16 Armored Brigade. And the brigade commander of 65 operations, Brigadier K.K. Singh, was the corps commander now in 71 GOC 1 Corps. So it was an old team, and so after a few days there was the advance on our left flank was a little sluggish. So there was a bit of a lull in between. We were at Bari, in a village called Bari. And I must tell you an incident that happened there with me. On one of the days, there was an attack launched on a village close by, and next day I found two JCOs who walked up to my tank, and I called them up because I was in my Kapola, and they both came up, and they said that we want some help. So they were from Dogras. So I asked them that, how can I help you? So they said we have got a 1 ton stuck. There was a nala in front, and
Okay.
that 1 ton was carrying their ammunition and F echelon stores, basically, replenishment of ammunition and fuel and various other things. So I asked my squadron commander on the radio that how can I help them. So my squadron commander said that only he was, by the way, Major Motidhar then, and later Lieutenant General Motidhar. He was the vice chief of army staff before he retired. So he said, let there be last light because a tank moving out from camouflage will be seen. So right in front was all enemy.
Okay.
So I told these two chaps, and one of them were, by the way, was a Panditji,
Acha.
a religious teacher who during war they also wear uniform. They are all
Battalion
trained soldiers.
Pandit, I would say.
Yes, battalion Pandit. So I offered them hot food, and because in the tank we have, a thing called boiled vessel in which you can heat things, and you can even brew tea or cook khichdi and things like this. So, and then I offered them some sweets and something like that, and they were so impressed. They said, it appears that you are on a picnic." So I said, "Yeah, of course we are on a picnic till the time one is living. Otherwise, if you are not there, so God alone knows what will happen." But anyway, at night I took out my tank. The moment it was last light, I took out my tank to extricate this 1 ton. Little did I realize that if a 1 ton can get bogged down, then my tank, which was 50.8 tons of weight, the moment I went in, my tank got bogged down.
Okay.
So I called my other tank to pull me out, and we were all, the three of us and one or two more people, we were walking back on the embankment of this nala when a stray round came and fell on the 1 ton. Just one round.
Okay.
And for next 15 minutes, there was complete fireworks. Ammunition was blasting, and just a few seconds back, we were all standing there.
It was an anti-tank round, right, sir? Something like that, or an RCL round.
No, it was an artillery round.
Artillery. Acha.
It was an artillery round, a stray round. I don't know how. There's hardly any explanation because,
Because artillery
except
will
for when
come
they are
from
ranging,
barrage, right?
yes, artillery fires from rear, maybe 25, 30 kilometers. So maybe they were ranging or what was happening, but just one round. And just 15, 20 seconds back, we were all standing there next to this wonder. So it is, such incidents take place. And many such things happened with me, and I'm sure with others also, where one was saved by a hair's breadth, as they say.
Right.
So thereafter, of course, the rest of the regiment was operating elsewhere, and on the 12th day, or 11th night, 12th morning, the whole regiment was together at this place, Bari. Then on the 12th, 13th, we were reorganizing ourselves, and on the 13th night, we crossed a minefield called Barkhania minefield.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, my auxiliary engine of my tank went off. We have two engines in our tank. One was the main engine, the other was the auxiliary engine, which basically is responsible for charging your batteries, etc. Uh, and with that only, your radio sets also function with that
Okay.
because of that. Since that was defective, the whole night I had to keep my main engine on, but I could not hear anything. The radio, and in a tank without a radio set, if it is not functioning,
You are as
you
good
just
as.
don't know what is happening around you.
Yeah.
There's so much noise and you can't hear anything.
Hmm.
So I was just following. We were moving at a formation called line ahead formation, where one behind the other you
Line ahead. I mean, one tank after
line
the other.
ahead, yeah, one behind the other,
Okay.
squadron after squadron, and the regimental headquarters in between. And we had APCs of the infantry. 18 Rajrif was the infantry with us, with their commanding officers and two companies. So that's how this advance started. And after going for a while, from a clump of trees, a fire was drawn on us. And when this fire was drawn, everybody retaliated with firing, machine guns and even main guns. Some people fired. The CO kept yelling on the top of his voice that don't fire, stop fire, and all. But then by then people were, because this was the first time that there was an opportunity to fire. So virtually there was a bit of a panic. So after a few minutes, everyone realized that even the people there in that grove realized that these were own tanks. Actually, they thought we were Pakistani tanks, and we thought these were Pakistani. So such confusion does take place. Fortunately, there was no casualty. Now, since some tank tracks were seen of Pakistani tanks withdrawing, they had left these tank tracks, pattern tanks,
Okay.
M47s and 48s. So the CO had said that let us not lose time. These tank tracks will lead us to the vehicle safe lane in their minefields. We don't have to breach a minefield. We can just follow these tracks. But after going for about 2 kilometers or so, it was realized that these tank tracks were veering off to a direction other than where we were supposed to go.
Okay.
So then a fresh bearing was taken, and Mallu, like I told you, the guy who met us in Sangrur, Malhotra, he was fondly called Mallu. He was leading. He was the one who was navigating. So fresh bearings were taken, and then by the morning of 14th, we reached a place called Badwal. And in Badwal, the some of the tanks, like my tank and another three tanks, which were defective, were left behind. A couple of one or two APCs, some engineers, people from the minefield, etc. There was a group of people and some equipment that was there. We were left behind, and the rest of the regiment moved forward.
Okay.
Now, while we were waiting for the field repair team, FRT it is called, for the for them to come and repair our tanks, an air attack by 4 to 6 Sabre jets came
Pakistani.
onto us. Yes, they came onto us and they took turns firing their rockets and 50 mg, which is a very high rate of firing. We were all outside the tank, sunning ourselves. Basically, it was winters, and suddenly this fire came. There was hardly any time to get inside the tank, so we all dived. Whichever tank was closest, we dived under the tank, in the belly of the tank, between the two tracks.
I think the top of your tank is the least armored.
Yes, the top is least armored, but it is enough armored for a machine gun, etc. So that is not a cause of worry, except if a direct artillery round hits the top, then it will blast it.
Right.
Otherwise, normal machine gun, etc., is no issue.
And sir, normally at that time in war, tanks do have some anti-aircraft guns, some kind of.
Yes. So the armament in Centurion was, besides the main gun, which I said was 84 millimeters, there was a coaxial gun which is mounted along with the main gun, uh, .30 Browning
Okay.
machine gun. Then there is one mounted on the cupola of the commander, which is called the anti-aircraft gun, also .30 Browning. Besides this, there is one machine carbine, one per tank, and 4 pistols. I mean, each crew member has a pistol, which is a personal weapon, and 9 grenades.
Okay.
So one tank had enough ammunition of all kinds, uh, and everything that we were carrying had a role to play. So if we had to evacuate our tank, there were smoke grenade dischargers mounted on the turret of the tank. You fire that, and it creates a smoke screen, and that gives you enough opportunity to get out of the tank if the tank is burning or it is hit or it has got defective and you have to come out. So you carry your carbine and you have your pistols with you, and of course the grenades you carry with you. So whatever is given as part of the armament is all has a particular utility. So here then, after the air attack, I was under a tank and I could sense something warm going into my both my legs,
Okay.
and at that time, and no pain at all, no sensation. So once the air attack was over, must have been for maybe 1 minute or 1.5 minutes, which of course felt like a couple of hours. When I came out, I virtually had to pinch myself. I thought I was dreaming, so I virtually pinched myself to see that whether I'm, firstly, am I living or I'm dead, or what the hell is happening. And people were bleeding. Somebody had lost his leg, and my operator and gunner both were very young. I mean, they had just the amount of service I had, from 6 8 months service. So they were inside the tank,
Okay.
and they were inside the tank. I said inside. So my the driver, Lab Singh was his name. I was looking for him. I couldn't find him. So I told these two chaps. Uh, I said, "You where is Lab Singh?" So they told me that he must be under some other tank. Um, he will come. So I was bleeding from both my legs, and there were splinters virtually hanging out of my black overall, my dangri that I was wearing. And I pulled them out without any sensation, no pain, nothing. And so I told them that you drive the tank to a nearby grove, clump of trees, where I said, because these guys will come again. None of the tanks got destroyed in these air attacks, but a lot of casualties because of the splinters. So they told me that they can't, they don't know how to drive. So since I had trained in the regiment in all trades, I told them, all right, you put me into the driver's seat. And as they put me into the driver's seat, which has got two positions. One is a position which is up where you can put your head outside the driver's cupola. The other is down. So when you close the cupola, that is the position, lower position. And I saw uh, Guru Nanak Ji's picture hanging there because I was from the Khalsa squadron. The driver had put a small picture of Guru Nanak Ji. And when I looked at it, I saw my parents' Guruji standing full. I mean, from his toes to his head, he was also a Sikh and in white clothes, and he was smiling. And he told me that don't worry, whatever had to happen has happened. And all this is I'm seeing it and I'm hearing it. And he says that don't worry, all that was to happen has happened, and nothing more will happen.
Okay.
I took a self of the tank ignition. Now the tank, which was off-road because of the batteries and we were waiting for an FRT the whole night, it started in one self.
Okay.
Just one self I took and the tank started.
Asha.
And I drove the tank up to that clump of trees, then I lost consciousness. Next I woke up, I was lying in a APC, armored personal carrier, waiting for the FRT to come and or an ambulance or something to come to evacuate. In the meanwhile, I was asking for this driver of mine that where is Lab Singh? Have you found Lab Singh? And nobody would give me a clear answer. It is later, then at about 4 in the evening, one jeep came carrying the field repair team. So in that jeep, I was evacuated. And while they were lifting me, they realized that I was bleeding from my back also.
Okay.
There was a couple of splinters in my back. So when I finally, between the field hospital which was at Samba and where I got wounded, there was a field dressing station which was dug down. It was underground. Engineers were doing an amazing job. I mean, there was medicos were moving along with us into battle. Where I got wounded was about 15 kilometers away from the international border. So after taking the first aid there, I was moved to the field hospital in Samba. It is here I got to know that Lab Singh, while trying to get under some tank, he got two shots in his back of the 50 MG, and he was split into two from his back. There was no more. So some 4 or 5 people died there actually. The guy lying next to me under the tank also got a splinter in his neck, and we were both looking at each other, and there was a hiccup, and next he just slumped. He died. I mean, maybe just 4 inches away from me. So lot of mayhem, lot of casualties in the field hospital. It was a sight. I mean, I didn't even get a bed. I was lying on a stretcher in the veranda, and at night I was operated. Along with, on one table, there were at least 4 or 5 operations taking place.
Okay.
But fortunately, I didn't have anything very serious. But the surgeon told me that there is a splinter which is embedded deep in your back, very close to your spine. I've tried to remove it, but I am not taking any chances because there are a lot of nerves running there. And by chance, if some nerve gets cut, you might get paralyzed. So I'm leaving it there, and don't worry, nothing will happen. It will stay firm there, etc. So which till date I'm carrying, and there is no problem. Yeah.
I mean,
In
it's
fact,
still there.
it is still there. And much later, I found in one X-ray when I had a sprain in my ankle. They said, "What is this?" Because there was a splinter there also, even today,
Okay.
which I just by chance I got to know it is still there. So from this field hospital, and the same day that I got wounded, my squadron commander, Major Motidhar, then I had such a providential escape that while standing in the cupola, there was some round, I don't know, nobody can say what it was, but it went so close to his back, virtually scraped skin out of his back. There was a coat parka that he was wearing, that
Okay.
went off, his shirt went off, the vest went off, and the skin went off, and he was bleeding. So it was just, he was evacuated in a helicopter. And my squadron 2IC, he his ankle, his heel got stuck into the, there is a ring between the cupola and the hull, so it got stuck in that, and he was, that is a battle accident actually. They can't be called a casualty.
Mm-hmm.
Battle casualty is only against enemy fire. So that's how all three of us landed up in the hospital on the same day. Then we were shifted by after a couple of days to, because a lot of casualties were coming, we had to be shifted out to Pathankot.
Acha, acha.
Pathankot, yes, there was a make-do hospital there also, and which later on, in '73, we occupied the same lines where this hospital was there when we got back after withdrawing from Pakistan. And then we were finally evacuated to Jalandhar. My father was still in the army, serving in the army. Something very interesting took place
Mm-hmm.
on the night of 13th, 14th morning. I got wounded. My mother dreamt of a white sheet
Acha.
suddenly getting sprayed with blood.
Okay.
She woke up my father and she said, "Please find out where is Bridge." But those days there was no phones. In any case, nobody knew what the hell was happening. So, but being in the army, he had his people. He called up people. Then finally got to know that they got to know that I was in Jalandhar.
Acha.
So my father came there, and by then I was all right, and I was given sick leave. Went to Meerut while my father was commanding the RVC center there. And now coming to the Battle of Basantar. No, 15th night,
Mm-hmm.
16th morning, we were, the plan was that Basantar Nala, it is actually not Basantar River, it is a Basantar Nala,
Okay.
which is tributary of Deg Nadi of India. When it enters Pakistan, it is called Basantar.
Basantar.
So across this and the banks, there was hardly any water actually, not more than 6 inches or 8 inches. But the banks were approximately 1200 to 1500.
Could you repeat that again, sir? The tank?
You see, the width of the from one bank to the other
Mm-hmm.
was about 1500 meters,
Okay.
yards at that time. But the water was there was hardly any water in it. Now the plan was that uh, the infantry, that is 3rd Grenadiers and 16 Madras, would launch an attack on the 15th night and capture. 16 Madras was to capture a village called Sarachak.
Sarachak. Okay.
Sarachak, and Lalyar forest is a young forest, Lalyar forest area. So this was to be captured by 16 Madras. 3rd Grenadiers was to go bypass 16 Madras and go to a place called Jarpal.
Japal. Okay.
So Jarpal was occupied by the enemy,
Mm-hmm.
and 3rd Grenadiers was to go there. And thereafter, 6 Madras was to enter and enlarge the bridgehead. Along with that, before first light, Poona Horse was to induct to again enlarge the bridgehead,
Mm-hmm.
as also to provide protection to the infantry.
Right. The entire
Now,
regiment, sir, or
sorry,
the entire
entire regiment, yes,
Okay.
because enlargement of the bridgehead would have meant that approximately 3 kilometers wide and about 3 to 3.5 kilometers perpendicularly would be the size of the bridgehead, D that is made.
Because I think I'm presuming 3 battalions, so at least they'll be needing uh, the entire regiment.
You see, tanks being mobile and with long reach,
Mm-hmm.
a regiment is a lot. In fact, there was hardly any place for any more armor to induct after the regiment.
Okay.
And we used only 2 squadrons. The 3rd squadron was kept reserve.
Okay.
So now on 15th night, the infantry attack went as per schedule, but the minefield was being breached by the engineers,
Acha.
and the minefield could not be breached because our troll tanks are special tanks which have got rollers in front,
To destroy the
and
mines.
yes, to blow the mines, but these tank trolls became defective,
Acha.
and the area was very sandy. So in sand, the troll tanks cannot move very much because the rollers are very heavy. So they were hand breaching the minefield, the engineers. Now hand breaching would take, it would have taken us to the next morning or more than that. So at a point in time, the commanding officer took a decision. Hanu took a decision, which is hailed today as one of the turning points of this battle. He decided that we will go through the unbreached or partially breached minefield. The engineers were told that it is our responsibility. You get aside. We will go through the minefield,
Okay.
uh, partially breached minefield. So we again formed that line ahead formation, and a technique was devised where if the forward tank went over a minefield, the next would bypass it from the right, and if that also goes over a minefield, the next will bypass for further right till the time we get across. And surely some tanks will get across. As luck would have it, not a single tank went over a mine, and we inducted ourselves, the entire regiment inducted into the bridgehead. And next morning, one APC coming on the same tracks blew up. So, because APC has got little narrower tracks than the tank. So we probably missed a couple of miles by maybe a few centimeters.
And these were all anti-tank mines, not
Anti-tank
anti-personnel.
mines. We are worried only about anti-tank mines. Anti-personnel is no issue. And one jeep also went over one mine and blew
Because
up.
I think as Centurion is a quite a medium, at least medium tank, the maximum damage would be on the tracks, not on the hull.
Yes, no, you are right. The maximum damage would be on track, bogie wheels, the idler, the sprocket. Because idler and sprocket, if they get damaged, then it's a major.
You're immobile.
Crew is safe, crew is all right, but the tank becomes a non-runner then. So that's how the induction took place, and as we were approaching Sarachak, uh, a lot of fire was drawn from Sarachak, which meant the enemy was still there,
Okay.
which 16 Madras was supposed to have cleared. But in the night, in the melee, when the fighting is taking place, you just don't know where you are and what you have cleared, etc. So the CEO decided that let us all move our guns in one direction and fire a few rounds.
Okay.
So when that was done, and by the way, Centurion didn't have a night fighting capability. So it was all, we leveled guns and fired. So by chance, we hit one tank of the enemy. And since it was brewing, a lot of fire in that, the shadow of that, we could see some people running and here and there. And so that's how we entered Sarachak. And then Lalyal forest also had enemy.
Okay.
So a mounted attack uh, was launched in this reserve forest with infantry dismounted, 18 Rajrif and Charlie cordon of ours. So in Lalyal forest in the morning before first light, we were Charlie cordon and half of B cordon.
Okay.
B cordon commander with just 2 troops had gone with 2 third grenadiers.
Acha.
Charlie cordon with 2 troops of Bravo squadron, they have total 4 troops in a squadron. 2 troops of Bravo squadron were in the Lalyal forest. 18 Rajrif was in Lalyal forest. And Alpha squadron, that is Arun squadron, was in reserve in Sarachak. Now, when the first light came, we were in that reserve forest area poised to take on a counter attack. You see why I say that how things work, and we all believe in the hand of God because that is what we have in our badge also. So next morning when the attack started, counter attack started, we were in our location. which means that if we were even 15 minutes late, suppose we had waited for the minefield to be breached before inducting, everything, the whole brigade would have got washed out. This counter-attack was by 31 Cavalry of Pakistan. And since we were already poised to take on the counter-attack, although we had 5 tanks lost in the first few minutes of battle.
Okay.
But yeah, but then by next 2 hours or so, we knocked out 31 tanks of theirs. So that is the kind, and the CO himself, General Hanuth, was himself taking on pot shots on tanks, and in between his gun got stuck. I mean, something so amazing he did against another tank's turret. He put his gun and pushed it so that it gets released. A lot of people told him that, you will get hit. He said, don't worry, nothing will happen. And so that's how, that was a major battle. That was the first part of the counter-attack. Major, that is why 1.5 squadrons was located there.
My goodness.
Because the major counter-attack was coming there.
And 31 tanks, sir. It's almost like close to a regiment destroyed.
Yeah.
Entire armored regiment.
And while this was happening, the enemy got little smart, and the 13 Lancers, which again I may tell you at this point that our Charlie squadron of Poona Horse pre-partition was of Camp Khanis.
Okay.
So that squadron went on to 13 Lancers.
Acha.
So 13 Lancers, Charlie squadron was from Poona Horse pre-partition.
So you're fighting your own squadron.
We fighting our own brothers, you can say. Let me at this time only tell you that there was a newsletter printed for the regiment, and in England till almost early 80s.
Okay.
And it carried news from both 13 Lancers and Poona Horse. It had 50% of news of 13 Lancers and 50% of Poona Horse. And these Britishers who used to come visiting us, they used to then go to Pakistan and visit 13 Lancers. So that is the bonhomie that we carried even post 71 war. So while this battle was on, Major Bal, B Squadron Commander with just 2 troops, he radioed to the CO to say that there's a major counterattack building up in front of me. There was a gap between Lalial Forest and Jarpal. So they are wanting to exploit this gap. So I want you to send some troops. That is when the CO nominated half squadron led by Ballu Malhotra with 2 troops. That was Arun's troop and Second Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal, his troop, to go and cover this gap.
I think he also got the Veer Chakra.
He got a Veer Chakra. Avatar got a Veer Chakra. He was wounded. So they moved to cover this gap, and while on the move, there was a big bunker there with a RCL, Pakistani RCL, which was alive. So knowing Mallu, he was quite a reckless guy. He jumped out of his tank without even a pistol, and he just raised his hand. And he said, hands up, and they all, of course, they saw these tanks coming, so probably the suppression was such, they all raised their hand and came out. So they were bundled up on the deck of the tank with a rope, and then they were handed over to the infantry as the prisoners of war. And when they finally reached this gap that they were to cover, there was only these 3 officers. The rest of the tanks got shot up while moving. In one case, one JCO got hit in his chest, machine gun. So there were these just 3 tanks, and the Pakistanis by then was launching the second counter-attack. And this attack was led by their squadron commander, Major Nasir, whom we got to know after the...
Muhammad Nasir.
Yes, very much. He was the squadron commander. And this was led by the all officer troop leaders, and this was do or die kind of counter-attack. And with these 3 officers taking these people on, because Major Bal was on the far side of village Jarpal,
Mm-hmm.
facing a village called Badapind.
Okay.
So he was holding on that side, whereas this gap covered by just these three tanks, and the counterattack was coming with 13 tanks.
13. Okay.
13, yes, and this has been verified. Not only verified, this has been explained by one historian, Pakistani historian
Age
called
Amin. Major Age
Amin.
Amin.
Yes, yes.
I think he's no
So
more.
he
He
has
passed
drawn
away.
also. He has given pictures also,
Okay.
where these 13 tanks have been marked, and also marked in red to say these were destroyed. So when this attack was building up, halfway through, Malhotra's gun stopped firing.
Acha.
Some defect. It developed a defect. Uh, Avatar Alawa tank got hit couple of times and it was on fire. They had to evacuate. He got wounded. Arun's tank also got hit at a point and it was burning. At this stage, there were still some 5 tanks were still coming on. Rest got destroyed. And in these 5 tanks was Nasir's tank as well. So systematically, he was, his crew, Nathu Singh was his gunner, Prayas was the driver, and Nan Singh was his operator. So they kept destroying one tank after the other till the time there was this last tank that he was going to
Destroyed.
shoot,
Okay.
and uh, that is when they both shot each other, and that is Khwaja
Muhammad
Mo-
Nasir.
Nasir's tank.
But I think he survived.
He not only he, his crew survived.
Okay.
What happened was when his tank got hit, he asked them to evacuate. So before the tank went up in flames, there is a escape hatch in tanks. So they all were told to get out of it, and he also escaped out of it. He was behind the tank till the time it was evening, and then he also went out. In case of Arun, the round that hit him was through the porthole. There is the porthole is a hole of the turret through which empty shells are thrown out. So the round which hit him came through that.
Okay.
I mean, such a thick steel. It is almost 9 inches of steel. It The distance was so short that the round went through, taking the chunk of steel with it, and went through Namsing. Namsing, the operator, it went through him, and splinters hit around his waist, his upper thighs and his waist. And that is when the chap, Nathu, which is sitting on the gunner's seat, he also got wounded. But he didn't know what the hell happened, because when you get hit, you don't realize what has happened.
Right,
So
right.
it's just a tank. Then Prag Singh also realized, and he pulled the tank slightly back and came out and uh, pulled out Arun, and he was still breathing, and he asked for some water. But since it was very cold, they thought they will give him some warm water or tea or something. But he did not survive and he passed away. But the action that day that he displayed, I mean, not even done Vios, 21-year-old, and when his tank was on fire, the squadron commander, Ami Bal, Mallu, everybody said, "You evacuate, abandon your tank because you are on fire." You see, it was a petrol, Centurion had petrol, it used to run petrol. So,
Okay.
fire meant that it will blast. Also, the ammunition inside, because of heat, would start blasting. But then he made a very
Bold
iconic
decision.
statement
Right.
that my gun is still firing. I will get these bastards. I mean, this is exactly what he said, uh, which is now everywhere. You read everywhere,
Right.
and this movie, because you will see all this. Uh, so that's how the Battle of Basantar, and then there was no tank battle after this. The all 13 tanks lay destroyed and burning, and by these three people, and mostly by Arun. Next day, 17th, of course, was in the afternoon was the ceasefire. 17th, there was the infantry battle in the morning, but no tank battle. And 17th evening was ceasefire. 18th, there was a flag meeting. So Nasir came for the flag meeting, and he met the CO and others. There's a picture in the regiment of Nasser and with others, and he asked that whose tank was that. When he was told that this was a second lieutenant, not even done his bios and 21-year-old, he couldn't believe it. In fact, later uh, we got to know that he used to keep Arun's picture in his study.
Okay, and this was before Brigadier Khetrapal went to Pakistan.
Yes, before that, but then in 1980, Brigadier Khetrapal, who was from Sargodha, their ancestral home was in Sargodha, and he had studied in Government College, Lahore.
Okay.
So he told his wife and his son, Arun were two brothers. Mukesh is the
Mukesh
younger
Khetrapal, yeah.
brother. So he told them that he would like to visit his college for a reunion. They both were very apprehensive and they said, don't do that because he had a back issue. His spine was giving him trouble and he was old. He was probably 80 or around 80. But he insisted and he went. So just before his going there, he got a request through the High Commission that there is an army brigadier who wants to host you at his place. And so he said, fine, it's all right. So he went, he was received at the airport, he was taken to Sargodha also, and he was escorted for this reunion. And from Sargodha, while coming, he was taken to Jarpal.
Achha.
And that is where, and this brigadier was Nasir.
Achha, achha. Khwaja Muhammad Nasir.
That is where he broke this news that I was the guy. Your son was lying there, I was standing here. And of course, he said he was so brave. And then he wrote a letter also, which is now with the regiment. And Brigadier Khetrapal that night, later he of course told that I just didn't know how to respond or react. That I was entertained and hosted by the guy who
Killed my son.
Not my son. So that is how the Forge is. I mean, this is what the army is all about. And once he came back, he didn't break this news to his wife and son. There was a book launched by General Ion Cardoza,
Iron Cardozo. Achha, achha.
where Brigadier Khetrapal was invited. And India Today people interviewed Brigadier Khetrapal. And they asked him about this visit, and they said that we believe that you were hosted by Brigadier Nasir. So that is when he broke this news, and his wife and son who were there, they were flabbergasted. They said, "You never told us." So, so he said, "What was there to tell? What could I tell you? That I was the guest and the guy who killed my son." But I would say that it was very nice of Brigadier Nasir to have hosted Brigadier Khetrapal and spoken so well of Arun. So that's all about the Battle of Basantar and the regiment and everything else. Anything else that I can?
I had two questions before we conclude today's program with you. That is the Patton versus the Centurion. I mean, Patton I think was the latest tank, American tank given to the Pakistanis, and Centurion was I think World War II vintage. How did you feel like it would get along with the Patton in battle?
I think it's a very good question. You see, Patton was the frontline tank of America at that time. It was not as if they had given some old tank to Pakistan. That was the frontline main battle tank of America.
Right.
Now it had a longer range. It had a coincidence range finder.
Okay.
Because we had no range finder. So technically it was much more advanced, even engine wise. So, and a Centurion was a heavy tank, I mean medium tank though, but pretty heavy, 50.8 tons when it is all loaded with ammunition, etc.
50.8.
So now what you have to see is that the weapon system that you have, how effective it is in the area where you will operate. You see, if we were operating in deserts, then we would be at a disadvantage against the Pathan because they would not let us come close. Our ranges, we were zeroing at 1,000 yards. Their zeroing was probably at 1,500, 1,600 yards.
Okay.
So, advanced weapon system is more useful where you can exploit its characteristics. Our tank was a sturdy tank. It was so sturdy that when the gun fired, the tank hardly moved.
Okay. So
It was,
heavy.
so heavy and it's so compact. Now, the gun that we had for 1,000 yards, 600 to 1,000 yards, it would not leave. You could aim at a stone and shoot it. It was that accurate.
Okay.
Then the ranges obtainable in that area because of the canals and the tree lines, you could not see. You could not get a target beyond 600 yards, 700 yards, 800 yards. And finally, we had a technique called the blind technique,
Acha.
during which 3 rounds were fired rapidly. In fact, we used 3 rounds of APDS, armored piercing, discarding SABO, that is a armor piercing round. Within 24 seconds, you fire 3 rounds.
Okay. 24
Why it is
seconds.
called blind technique? Why it is called? Because after firing the first round, the gunner doesn't look in the sight. All he does is there is a hand wheel, gunner's hand wheel. He adds half for the second round and drops one for the third round, which means add half would mean 200 yards. First round goes at 800. The next round for add half goes at 1,000, and third round for drop one goes to 600 distance. So between 600 to 1,000, or when the rounds are fired, they will cover anything which comes in between, being a flat trajectory right up to 1,500 yards.
You can beef up the accuracy, I would say.
Yes,
Very much.
accuracy and speed.
Speed.
Also, when a tank fires, you may not be able to visualize, but when a tank fires, there is something called as obturation.
Okay.
The dust in front, because of the vacuum that the round creates when it comes out of the barrel, there is dust which is lifted. Now the gunner cannot see for good maybe 6 seconds, 7 seconds till the time the dust settles down. So if he has to aim for every round, he has to wait for those 6 seconds.
Right.
But
And you
because
can
it is a blind
pause.
technique, he doesn't have to look. He just fires 3 rounds. And there were so many tanks that we hit where all 3 rounds were into the turret, hit into the turret. So that was no match. Then the other thing which was to our advantage were at all these places, including where Arun and these people were, we were static and they were moving.
Acha, acha, acha. You can do this easily at that time. Without
Yes,
movement.
so we were static, in position, ready to take them on. Now they were moving because the counter attack they launched, which is very stupid to launch by daytime. Tanks never attack tanks. You are supposed to maneuver to get on a flank so that you can get the better of the enemy. But they, for whatever reasons of urgency or stupid command of the seniors,
Launched a
they
frontal
launched
attack.
daylight counterattacks. So when a tank, now you can visualize a tank is moving, and though the gun is stabilized, but yet the gunner is also moving, his head is also moving, and the gun is moving. So it's very difficult to aim. Pretty difficult to aim. And the driver who's driving doesn't know there is a khadda in front, or there is a little bump in front. So to that extent, it's very difficult for a guy who's moving his tank as against a static tank.
Right.
So these were the few factors why Centurions got the better part of patents.
Wonderful explanation, sir. Even I was not aware of it. Like, everybody thinks it's a World War II tank, that's a modern tank. How could it fare better, right?
Right.
Now, sir, before concluding, I would like to know a bit about your career in the armed forces before retirement. A little bit about it, sir.
Right, right. So, to start with, I mean, we were in Pakistan for 1 year,
1 year.
one full year, maybe a few days more than a year. So on 21st of December 2072, we
1972.
withdrew from uh, Pakistan, and we were in the same location where the battle had stopped.
Acha.
We came to Pathankot, and then I went on for a gunnery course, the instructor course, and then got a posting to as a GSO 3 in one of the armored brigades in Jaipur. Did various courses, etc. Then got married in 1975 again into an army family. My wife is from an army background, and then got posted as an instructor in Ahmednagar
Okay.
in the gunnery wing. And from there we went on, came back to the regiment, and regiment was still hovering around Pathankot, Jammu. Uh, so we spent quite a lot of time there. Then I got through staff college, did my staff college in Wellington, and thereafter got posted as a DQ in an armored brigade, which was in Bagina, the second armored brigade. And that's how we went on, and I got a posting with the National Security Guards.
NSG. Acha, acha.
Manasar, yes, and NSG had a longish tenure.
I mean, from the
And
armored corps,
then
you moved to the NSG.
NSG, I was, yes, I was in the Faculty of Studies, which is called FOS. So I was the 2IC of Poona Horse, but could not command because I was command surplus. Shergill, a very dear friend of mine, he commanded the regiment, and I had to go and command 49 Armored Regiment,
Okay.
which is also a wonderful regiment. Uh, so after my command
Is
is
this
when I came
General
to
Shergill, sir?
NSG. I came after my command,
Okay.
and then got promoted to be a brigade commander. I commanded an infantry brigade,
Okay.
301 Infantry Brigade at Ranchi. While I was commanding, in fact, just when I took over, this Op Parakram took place.
Acha.
And after this attack on the parliament and all that happened. And from there, we went on to Parakram, and we were there for a year, almost went into battle as part of one corps. And I was this 23 that we were part of 301. And in the same area we would have launched. The preparations were right up to the extent that where exactly the wire will be cut and from where we are going to enter Pakistan, um, including there was a very challenging task given to my brigade. We were to infiltrate
Acha.
into Pakistan 25 kilometers and get them from behind of their second obstacle
Okay.
after moving 25 kilometers in one night. And I was allotted a regiment of tanks also. Anyway, it was nothing happened finally. And then I got posted in army headquarters, uh, and that is where in 2004 I uh, I was down with diabetes.
Okay.
So that is when I decided to quit in 2004 and moved to Oriental Bank of Commerce,
Acha, acha.
which had their head office in Delhi, as their security and general administration chief in their head office. Having served there for 6 years, then I joined a group of companies dealing with distilleries. And in 2018, finally, I called it a day from active work.
And I would say thank you, sir, again for your services, and thank you again for coming up and explaining this entire battle of the 71 war and your participation as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much.